I loved the Brotherhood Airbase during the recent Fallout TV series, and I knew I had to try and do something similar in a build. Given the limited build budget, is it possible to do something like this in Fallout 76? And given my limited supply of camp items, could I put my own spin on it? Join me, let's find out. A massive welcome or welcome back to Fallout Play Build Collect. One of the things from the Fallout TV show I really enjoyed was the Brotherhood Airfield. It looked so run down and basic and rudimentary, it was a real contrast to what I was expecting. And as soon as I saw it, I knew I wanted to try something similar in a build. I picked up this shelter along with the Brotherhood barrack pieces in one of their special packages they do. Didn't seem to say it was specifically meant to tie into the show, but I think it pretty clearly was. I already had these Fallout 4 warehouse pieces, they're a commonly available plan, and I thought they'd work quite nicely for the hangars. This first hangar I turned into a power armor workshop, and it's meant to represent a scene where Dane and Max go in and see the power armor for the first time. The power armor displays here at the back are new, they came together with the package, and you can see I've included the old power armor frames as well, and of course terminals and workstations. The theme I've gone for with this build, much like the TV show, is a rudimentary backwater base, mostly deserted, and then the more sophisticated elements of the Brotherhood have turned up and started kitting it out. Used a couple of these aircraft engine power generators around the base. Obviously they fit really nicely in an airbase setting, and the aircraft parts of course did feature in the show quite a lot. Managed to build the observation tower with some nice defensive positions. Those barbed wire fences work really nicely at the bottom there. If there's any parts in this build you see that you're interested in, you want to know where they're from, just drop me a line, I'll see if I can point you in the right direction. I've been looking for a place to use this aircraft fuselage base piece, and if you don't use it on an airfield, where are you going to use it? So this is the ideal spot. In the show they have a plain fuselage that they keep Maximus in, that the High Cleric goes and gives him that first interview. So I've used that as an inspiration to turn this into a kind of a brig or a jail cell. I love the little playing card detail in there. The cleric sits over on the right hand side in the show, and I tried to recreate that there. Of course Fallout 76 doesn't really lend itself to big builds like this very well. I'm right on the build limit with this one. I wasn't really able to get as much decoration in as I'd like to have done. I think we kind of end up with a Fallout 3 level of detail rather than Fallout 4, but the build limit is what it is. So I've conflated two different buildings from the show into one in this main hangar. Over on the right here we have where the cleric would be instructing the aspirants. I think this looks quite nice with the school desks and the chalkboards. Over in the corner we have this super mutant in storage. Great for instructing the aspirants about their enemy. It's not from the show, but I just wanted to put my own little touches in it here or there. On the left hand side we have a multi-purpose area. We have some tool storage and some electronics items that they could be teaching the aspirants how to be scribes. We have the map desk there, so they could be teaching them map reading and that sort of thing. This is where they could be showing them what to look for out in the wasteland and how to take these things apart and what bits are valuable and what's not. Radioactive materials box, a desk for the head scribe, and over in the corner we have another enemy. This is of course a local one, this is a Wendigo. Put some benches in so the troops can come in and either watch a presentation about what mission they're going to be going on, or maybe they could watch one of the initiations or rituals they were doing. Once again with the power arm and the display frames, I think they'd serve as both inspiration and instruction for future scribes. Like this big metal stage area. That Brotherhood totem is another new item I believe. Over on the left there we have a fire for them to be doing their branding rituals, and I've used one of the heavy weapon stands as something that the aspirant could brace themselves over. For power I've used these Tesla power coils, and I like the crackling electrical effect around them, and I think that would show the Brotherhood's mastery of technology. Really do wish we had more capacity in 76 for builds. I'd love to have had all those elements in different buildings like they did in the show, but we just don't have the capacity here, and of course we can't manipulate it like we can in Fallout 4. In the show, we see Dane get her wound and go off to the medical tent, so this is a little bit of a recreation of those. To represent the idea they're making do with some of the old elements that are sitting around in the base, and they've got other new bits that are just coming and they're getting unpacked and set up. We head over to the barracks area. I've tried to recreate these buildings as close as I could to the show. They've all got these three chimneys on the top, so I was able to reproduce that. And they've all got porches on the front. Most of them are covered porches, but I've left them open like this. Again, I've tried to match this in with the show. Really rough, basic accommodation. Just a cot and a footlocker. Some old storage crates they're using as sort of bedside tables. Little bit of colour here and there with those boxing gloves. I think that makes a lot of sense. Some pin-ups on the wall, a guitar. A few people with some collectibles here, the little Nuka-Cola collectibles, things they might have picked up in the wasteland. Know a lot of people go really crazy with Fallout 76, and I think in some builds, like where it's a player home or whatever, it makes a lot of sense, but it's just not my kind of thing, especially not on military bases. As I said before as well, I like that Fallout 3 very sparse wasteland kind of look rather than the really bright, colourful, kitschy sort of Fallout 76 look. Just personal preference at the end of the day. I place these basketball hoops in because in the show they play some kind of similar game where they've got the little basketball hoops up there. I think they're sort of a box shape and I think they're throwing bricks or stones into them or something. Obviously some kind of game like that. There's no reason, of course, you couldn't find a ball somewhere. There's plenty of balls lying around in Fallout. All 6 of these barrack buildings all have different items on the porches, from cooking, brewing stations. They've got a little bit of everything they need, lots of bins. I think I've probably got one of every cooking station I could find. If you think about it, food and clean water would be a really big deal to these people. The tentacles representing some of the newer troops turning up as we head over to one of the more sophisticated buildings. I tend to put this stairway entrance whenever I use this Brotherhood Scout Tower. And of course one of the great things with this building is this fantastic door animation. Now this building naturally has this cryogenic smoke inside it. And given freezing people is a major theme of the show, I thought I'd lean into that and put these cryo storage beds in here. Thought it'd be a nice little theme that if any of the high-ranking Brotherhood members got injured here, you could freeze them and then transport them back to a more sophisticated base. This Brotherhood medallion symbol quite a lot. I'd really love to have had some flags and banners, but in all my time in the game, I'm yet to find a plan for a Brotherhood flag. I had this communication and command set up here. This is obviously a little bit more sophisticated than the one they had in the show. Like the red clock and the red aircraft seats all ties this in quite nicely. Of course, it wouldn't be a 50s style US Army base without having an alien in there somewhere. I love these little Zeta models, and I have another base, an underground bunker base I might put up at some point. It's a Brotherhood underground secret research bunker. If that's something you think sounds interesting, let me know and I'll see if I can get that one up for you. Up on the roof here are Vertibot dropping off some supplies. Now you notice I've put the solar panels on the little turret sections. The importance of this building meant it had to have its own sophisticated power source. Or it did in my headcanon anyway. This bridge section I put at the front, I'm currently looking for a location where I could put 2 of these towers next to each other, joined with a bridge in the middle. I think that'd be something quite interesting to do. Can't quite find the right location yet. If you got any suggestions, I'd really appreciate the help. The location the show filmed at is a real-life base called Wendover Air Force Base in Utah. And one of the notable visuals is its ammo bunkers. So I've reproduced those to some degree over on this side, and of course the missile silos. These missile silos, if you don't know, are actually an entrance into another shelter, and the game limits how many of these you can use, so I was only able to put 3 in. This, by the way, is a really good shelter to get. Again, if you'd like to see me do a build inside the missile silo, let me know. And finally, we come over to the armory and firing range. So I set up 2 different kinds of ranges here. This is a really basic static range. This is where the beginners would come and take a weapon and some ammo out of the box and fire at these static targets. One of the good things with these targets is they are actually destructible and repairable. Actually, it's a bit difficult to see at this distance, so let's come over to these ones on the side and I will show you close up. You'll see each shot leaves a bullet hole and the targets will gradually deteriorate. Oh, looks like I need a reload. I'm using lever actions all the time. Again, that's just the influence of the show, I guess. There you go, you can see the thing starting to deteriorate and you can just repair these back when you're done with them. Next to the armory here, I've gone for a more modern style shooting range. This is so the troops can practice when they're going in and around buildings and those kind of objects they're likely to run into. Trying to shoot these targets quickly is actually pretty good practice. Put a gate on there so that you can go inside and almost run this like a course. Sort of thing that modern troops do a lot of these days. Really like to have done this a lot bigger and a lot more elaborately, but as I said earlier, space was against me. Put these 2 walls on the side, and I think with these metal rings in at different heights, this would be good for troops to come and practice rope work. I think climbing and rope work would be really important in an area like Appalachia. This armory building is pulling double duty. On the upper level, I have the weapons and ammo storage lockers, as you'd expect, next to a firing range. But as we go downstairs, you can see I've used this as another main meeting place for the command staff. They have their own communication data terminals down here. I've spread around some nice military decorations. and I really like that globe of Mars. Once again, the camp budget meant the decoration had to stay fairly minimal, but as I said earlier, I really don't mind that in a military setting. And I added another little role play element here with this Brotherhood storage locker. I really like the palm scanner on it, so I was thinking maybe when the command officers down here, they have to scan their palms before they can sit down and access any of the data. Of course, this is all roleplay stuff, but if you've seen any of my builds, especially my Fallout 4 builds, you'll know I love this kind of roleplay detail. It's just the way I always play Fallout, and most games for that matter. I'm just always making up my own story elements. Of course, if you have the time, I'd really appreciate you going over and checking out some of my other build videos. Mostly Fallout 4 stuff, but I'm just starting to put together a little collection of things in 76. Really appreciate your company on this tour. I know this was quite big for a 76 build. I'd love to know what you think of it. Did I nail the theme? Did it remind you of the TV show at all? I really hope to hear from you. And of course, I have to thank this month's supporters. Whether it's just a one-off or a regular contribution, you can help the channel now over on Patreon and buy me a coffee. The links are in the description, and every penny goes to making new content. Now, if you're still watching, you'll definitely like some of my other content. Here's my suggestions of what to watch next. Don't forget to smash the like button before you go, and I hope to see you in another video very soon. Thanks for watching.